Coming up next on Jersey Matters, we come to you from the district office of Republican Congressman Leonard Lance, who is running for re-election next year. Does he want Donald Trump to campaign for him? We asked him. Also, the crackdown on illegals hits home. We'll tell you the very personal story of a New Jersey man who does not know where he's going to be living next year. Also, beating addiction online. It's a brand new program. We'll have those stories and a whole lot more because Jersey Matters. Welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. We come to you this week from Westfield, New Jersey, and the district office of Republican Congressman Leonard Lance from the 7th Congressional District. Sir, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Larry.
This happens in the wake of yet another terror attack, the one in London. I wanted to get your thoughts. What have we learned from that?
We learned that we have to be vigilant, ever vigilant, and this will take a worldwide effort, as Theresa May said, and I support the efforts of our government and of other governments to make sure that we are as secure as possible.
Did it show us something? Did it show us something about their new mode of operation, that they can strike anywhere?
Many of these attacks are homegrown, but they are at least inspired by ISIS. They may not be directed by ISIS. I would imagine that this is inspired by ISIS, although we do not have all of the details yet.
The president used the attack in London to renew his call for a travel ban. And he said today it is a travel ban. It's not a Muslim ban. It is a travel ban. Do you support that effort?
I didn't support the first iteration, but I think the second iteration is much more narrowly tailored, and it will be decided by the Supreme Court, but I would imagine the Supreme Court of the United States would permit the executive action by the chief executive.
Do you believe that it's important for national security?
I don't have all of the details because I'm not privy to many of the secrets of this country, but I do rely on who is president, who does have all of the details in this regard. And I do not think that the Supreme Court is likely to agree with the lower courts that have not permitted it.
I want to go to your town halls for a moment. You've had 4 town halls, and you've had 4 town halls in person. You've faced the voters, unlike some of the Republican congressmen who have had phone or something, an internet or a Facebook town hall. And yet you made certain that people registered for it. You wanted to make certain that people were actually from the district. Is that because you felt, after watching other town halls, that there were Democratic operatives that were showing up and disrupting the town halls?
I want to give my constituents the opportunity first to participate in town halls, and we had 1,400 at the first town hall meeting. I think we had 900 at the second, and we always want to make sure that constituents come first, and that's why we wanted to have constituents at these town hall meetings. I must say that most of those who attended tended to be on the Democratic side of matters, and it was a healthy and in some cases a vigorous exchange.
It was interesting that most of the people there, as across the country, were there because of the healthcare vote, the ACHA vote. Did they realize you voted against it?
Not sure that all of the town hall meetings were before my vote. I think that the first town hall meeting may have been before the vote. I just can't recall precisely, but
the one we covered was after it.
Certainly, I made my position known, and I think that some who attended the town hall meetings were disappointed and continue to be disappointed that Donald Trump is President of the United States. I want to listen to all of my constituents, and as I have indicated at these town hall meetings, I will support the President where I agree with him, and I will not support him where I disagree with him.
So mostly you're supportive of him? Because as you said, you were against the travel ban in its first iteration, and you voted against the ACHA. Would you say that you support him on most issues?
I support him on several major issues, including his appointment of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. I was not personally involved in that because I don't serve in the Senate. I serve in the House, but I think it was an excellent appointment. I support the President on his airstrike regarding Syria, the horrible regime poisoning its own citizens. And I was one of the Republicans who supported continued funding for the federal government, the continuing resolution that we passed several weeks ago to fund the government of the United States until September 30th. There were at least 100 Republicans in the House who were opposed to that. I supported that, and that passed on a bipartisan basis in both the House and the Senate, and it was signed into law by President Trump.
What about him pulling out of the Paris Accord? Do you support that?
I would have preferred that we stay in to have a seat at the table, but those agreement provisions were voluntary, and I do think that China and India have to do a better job. I would have stayed in, but I also think that China and India have to do a better job regarding pollution, and as you know, China is now the leading polluter in the world.
Because of the temperament in the country right now and the controversy surrounding Donald Trump's election, as you put it, Republicans, especially in Democratic states, have what may be a tough re-election coming up. And I just heard that Donald Trump is going to be campaigning for Tom MacArthur. Do you want him here campaigning for you?
I run on my own record, and I'm very proud of my own record. Secretary Clinton carried this congressional district. She carried it by about 3,800 votes. I was honored to win by about 38,000 votes. Now, some of the national pundits call this a Hillary Clinton district. I understand that. Barack Obama had carried this district in 2008. Governor Romney carried it in 2012, and then Secretary Clinton carried it in 2016. But in all three presidential contests, it was relatively close. I believe that my views represent the views of the overwhelming majority of the people of the district I serve.
Are you concerned about this Russian investigation? Do you think there's something to it?
I certainly believe that it should proceed, and I think the appointment of Bob Mueller was excellent, and I'm sure that he will get to the bottom of the situation, and what I've said is let the chips fall where they may, and I don't know what happened, but I think it's appropriate to have the special counsel, and I have enormous confidence in him.
You voted against ACHA. I wanted to get back to that for a second because now it's in the Senate, and they say they may even start over with it and send back a new bill. You aren't against repealing Obamacare or replacing Obamacare. You just don't like that bill.
That's correct. I think that Obamacare has many flaws, and I'll give you several of them. Here in New Jersey, we had 5 insurers initially for the individual market. We're down to 2. And in other parts of the country, in 1/3 of the counties in this country, not 1/3 of the population, but 1/3 of the counties, there is only 1 insurer. And so I do think that we need major revision. Also, premiums have increased. President Obama said famously that average families would see policy decreases of roughly $2,500. That's ridiculous and certainly did not occur. If you liked your doctor, you could keep your doctor. If you liked your health care plan, you could keep your health care plan. That has not occurred in all situations. So certainly we need revision. But I don't think the bill that narrowly passed the House was the revision that will lead to progress. It does not lower premiums. The CBO score said that premiums would not be lowered very much, and only after 10 years. And also I want to preserve making sure that nobody is denied coverage based upon a pre-existing condition.
And that's what you're going to base your vote on, that premiums come down and nobody is denied coverage?
Correct. Based upon a pre-existing condition, and certainly that's a proposition that for me is non-negotiable.
When we come back, I want to continue the conversation about health because I know it's important to you, especially in New Jersey. You're in several of the subcommittees. We're going to talk about the heroin crisis and also counterfeit drugs when Jersey Matters continues with Congressman Leonard Lance.